The 6-month Treasury bill and the 2-year Treasury note were auctioned today, Monday, February 26, 2024. I bought both. The 6-month T-bill had an investment rate of 5.34%, which is not consistent, in my opinion, with any cut in the federal funds rate on or before the June meeting. The current federal funds rate range is 5.25% to 5.5%, so the investment rate of the 6-month bill is close to the midpoint of that range. The 2-year note was auctioned with a 4.625% coupon and at a slight discount to par value, which brings the yield up to 4.691%. The difference between the par value of $1,000 and what is paid is called the original issue discount when you buy a note or a bond at auction at a discount to par value. The OID is classified as interest. The yield on the 2-year note with the OID is about 65 basis points lower than the 6-month Treasury bill, which matures on August 29th, 2024. If that Treasury bill could then be reinvested in another one maturing in 6 months with a 5% or higher investment rate, I doubt that the 2-year Treasury note bought today will produce a higher total return than just buying 4 6-month Treasury bills. That is one reason why I'm having trouble going further out than 6 months on my Treasury purchases now. I have 20,000 in Treasury bills that will mature tomorrow, February 27th. 10,000 will be used to buy the 4-month Treasury bill that will be auctioned on Wednesday. The yield is similar to what I'm now getting on a 6-month bill. I have 109,000 that will be paid in March from maturing Treasuries and corporate bonds. I will increase my purchases of the 3-month and 6-month Treasury bills that will starting with the auction on March 4th, 2024. I will be picking up more corporate bonds, and my allocation is already large in that category, provided their yields on the 1 to 3 year maturities continue to increase. Interest rates have been moving up this month, but that is not yet reflected in CD rates, which generally have yields below the Treasury bill rates. Banks are generally slow to respond to increases in the Treasury yields. Generally, I avoid bond funds. With an individual bond purchase, I know to the penny what my total return will be, provided that the issuer does not default before all the payments are made, including the principal amount at maturity. If interest rates continue going up, the prices of the bonds owned by a bond fund will decline. An investor may even suffer such a loss in net asset value that it wipes out whatever the fund was paying in dividends over a year or more. In a prolonged bear market, and I know for young folks out there, they never did not know that there was one other than the one that started in March of 2022 until now. But there was a granddaddy of all bond bear markets that lasted between 1950 and 1982. It started off over about a 15-year period in a process that I described, death by 1,000 paper cuts. And then over the next 15 years, there was a coup de grace. Anyone investing during that period in a bond fund would have unlikely produced a total return that would be compensate for inflation. If you adjusted the total return by inflation, you would probably have a negative total return for that period. Schwab has a 5 to 10 year corporate bond fund that has a 0.03% expense ratio and trades using the symbol SCHI. I do not own it. That ETF closed today at $44.10. The 0.03 expense ratio is about as low as you're going to find on a bond fund. The effective duration is 6.1 years. The general rule of thumb is to multiply the duration in years by the percentage up or down move in interest rates to determine how a fund's net asset value will respond to percentage changes in interest rates. So at a 6.1 year duration and a 1% rise in interest rates, that would roughly translate into a 6.1% decline in the net asset value, or more than the fund is paying in annual dividends. The SCHI yield is about 4.51%, according to Market Watch, which is probably near a 10-year high. While a purchase would produce nominal returns, positive nominal returns, if rates started to move down again, that drive up the prices of the bonds that are currently owned. This may not occur, and it will be more difficult for the total return to be positive adjusted for inflation and taxes paid on the income. Still, for a couch potato investor who does not want to buy individual corporate bonds and wants to extend duration to more than 5 years in case interest rates start trending back down, that is an option. As I said, I do not own the shares. Since I am thinking about that fund almost every day now, I may just buy 5 shares to drive the thought back out of my head. I own somewhere over 300, probably closer to 400 individual corporate bonds, but most of those do mature between now and January 2026. So I'm light on duration with my individual corporate bonds.